at Goldman Sachs. What's fascinating about this is that the reason of this strike has absolutely nothing to do with anybody in Europe actually buying that particular LNG from Europe, from Australia.
Yeah, what happens is that Asia consumes more liquefied natural gas, LNG, than what it produces, right? So you have this threat of a strike across three of the largest Australia LNG producing facilities. And if these strikes go ahead and interrupt the production of LNG, Asia needs to fill in that gap somehow, right? So the way they do it is to compete more fiercely for Atlantic Basin LNG cargoes. So when we think of Europe and the natural gas that Europe gets, a lot of that gas these days, since Russian gas is not going in, it's coming in as LNG. So if Asia competes for more of that LNG, less is available for Europe.
Okay, but the actual fundamentals of supply suggest, I mean, forget the strike, suggest that there is plenty of gas around such that the prices could be contained, which of course is excellent news on inflation grounds.
Yeah, that's true. If there is no interruption to production out of these facilities, then you have enough to go around for everybody. And one of the reasons for that, and it needs to be said, is that consumption of natural gas in Europe has changed. When we look at last winter, I would say the main reason why European storage of natural gas came out of winter as full as it did was because households started to conserve energy, and that made a huge difference.
Interesting. Do you think that is a permanent shift, or is it a shift on the back of great warnings that if we're not careful, we'll run out of fuel this winter and we'll be in deep trouble?
It's a great question, Richard. So there's a component of those savings that is permanent. So for example, all the heat pump installations that we kept hearing about, that's not going away. But when we think about why people changed behavior, I think there were two main reasons. Number one, prices were incredibly high last year, you remember. So you tend to react to that and be a little bit more careful in how hot you're going to keep your home during the winter. That number one reason is now gone. We see prices much, much lower than a year ago, right? Now, the second reason.
I just want to jump in. Yeah, I just want to jump in on that one while I've still got the thought. Does that mean, I mean, prices are much lower, but how much of a disruption? Forget the Australian strike. That's a sort of a limited thing. I'm talking about within Europe, within Russia related, within Ukraine related. How much of an increased threat of disruption to that which is remaining could send prices through the roof again?
Oh, not much at all, because there is no more Russian gas making it to Northwest Europe. You still have, you're right, you still have some residual flows through the Ukraine, but very little of that makes it to Austria or Italy. So when we think about a potential disruption there, the impact this would have on, let's say, German exports out of the region would be very minor. So in terms of a headline impact, sure, you would probably have a bit of a price spike on a headline. But when we think of actual availability of gas, Northwest Europe, which is the region that sets the gas price that we see in the UK, that we see in Germany and Netherlands, that region is really not relying on that gas anymore.
Samantha, thank you so much. I think it's our first time talking on Crestwood's Business. It certainly won't be the last as we make our way through a winter. Very grateful for your time. Thank you.